Welcome, sports fans, to another season of the Red Zone. The North Central College football team lost more than just its season opener in Ada, Ohio this past Saturday. Joining me always is coach of the Cardinals, John Thorne. Coach, opening up the season, 28-19 loss, about 6 hours away in Ohio. But in the second quarter, Matt Wanger, All-American linebacker last year, preseason this year, senior linebacker, went down, and the team didn't seem like it was quite the same from there on out.
He's a pretty important part of our football team, and it was a shock for everybody to see how hard he had worked, how big and strong he is, and to have a knee injury happen when he didn't even have any contact with anybody. I mean, everybody just thought, hey, he can't be hurt, he's got to be okay. But we'll see later this week if there's a chance for him to come back this season or whether he'll have to wait until next year.
Coach, 8 years at North Central College, 22 seasons coaching Wheaton Warrenville South High School. Have you ever, in the beginning of a season, faced adversity like that before?
Oh, yes. Several times. We've had some things, go wrong in that very first ball game, and sometimes we're able to put it back together before the game is over and pull it out, but we've also lost some of those games. But to lose a player of Matt's athletic ability, that hasn't happened to us very often. I mean, we've lost some really good players before, but not ones that were quite as good as Matt. And so we're hoping this Friday the doctor says, you know what, if we put a brace on that, you can keep playing.
That does sound good. Now, Coach, in the second quarter, when the play did happen, the score was 13-7. It was just 3 plays into the second quarter. It was a fake punt. Matt picked up the first down, but unfortunately there was a penalty on the play, got called back. But the rest of the game, the last 3 quarters, the time of possession went like this. North Central College, 15 minutes. Ohio Northern, 29 minutes and 20 seconds. Throughout 3 quarters, that's quite a difference there in time of possession. Right,
and definitely we have some things we have to fix there, both on offense and defense. And even a lot of things with special teams. We actually played very good football in our scrimmage against Harper, and we executed much better than we did last Saturday. So, I was shocked at how well we did against Harper, and then all of a sudden it went the other way, which happens sometimes. I need to do a lot better job as the head coach to try and help get the guys ready,
Coach, another linebacker for you, Valente Garza, a little bit banged up after the Ohio Northern game. I heard he was going to sit out the Benedictine game. What's his status right now?
Well, it's a high ankle sprain, and sometimes those heal very, very slow. And with a bye week coming up next week, we just think it's a good thing to hold him out this week. Plus, he'll be able to take it easy next week, and then hopefully he'll be ready for the last 8 games. But you just got to wait and see with those.
Yeah.
They are hard to figure out sometimes.
Well, Coach, the Harper Junior College game, that was a scrimmage the week before, and we had a chance to get a lot of video during that scrimmage. A lot of new players really looked good in that scrimmage. Guys that maybe we hadn't seen on the field that much in the previous seasons. One of them was a newcomer, freshman running back Nick Koo, Coach. He joins a backfield that has Dominic Sulo and Philip Rosberg. So we're looking pretty good at running back. But what were your impressions of the running backs and the offense in general at that scrimmage?
Well, I thought all of the running backs did some really good things, and there were a lot of them that got a chance to carry the ball that day. Nick's a local guy from right here in Naperville, and he's really fast. And so we're very excited about the future for Nick, and right now he's helping us a great deal on a lot of our special teams. And I'm sure before the year's over, he's going to get a few carries and definitely some kickoff returns.
Well, Dom Sulo, who was a finalist last year for the Gagliardi Trophy, definitely, as a senior, definitely one of the leaders on that offense. But really, it looks like you have to look at the offensive line. Returning Kyle Antos, Josh Delancey, and Zach Baldacci. You got 3 good ones right there to anchor that offensive line.
Right, and Jeremy Schaub is the 4th one, too, out of that's a returner. So we are really excited about what the offensive line can do this year. They lifted extremely hard in the offseason, and they're now getting so many reps together. And They played together for 2 full years. So every week, I think you'll see the offensive line just become stronger and stronger and stronger. And so we're hoping that that'll mean a lot of great carries for Dom and a lot of great protection for Aaron to be able to throw the ball.
Coach, going back to the Ohio Northern game, Dom was able to be very successful. I believe he had 25 carries, over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. Over to the passing game, not as much. It looks like maybe, well, I wasn't there at the game, but not as in sync as they were last year. Of course, this is an offense that routinely was throwing up over 300 yards passing a game.
Yeah, we graduated some senior receivers, and we moved a couple really fast guys from our defensive side to the offensive side. And so it's going to take a little bit of time to get everybody where that timing, it's so important on timing, as you know, for everything in football, but especially between the quarterback and the receivers.
You were talking about the cohesiveness with the offensive line. Certainly the same goes true with the wide receivers and quarterbacks. Over to the defensive side of the ball, you know, Tim Janisek last year was a defensive lineman that we were really excited about, and he really showed up in that Ohio Northern game, led the team in tackles.
Right.
And Robert Champion, a defensive lineman, is another guy that we were excited about. Both look like they picked up right where they left off.
You know what? We think they're both going to have great years, and I'm glad that they started off as well as they did. They both got very strong in the off season. They worked extremely hard. And they're starting to understand the schemes even better, because last year we put in a new offense or a new defense, and so this is their second year in it, and it's starting to make more and more sense to them all the time. So I'm excited about them. I think there's going to be a lot of sacks from those two guys, and they're also going to make a lot of tackles.
Well, Coach, over at the Harper Junior College game, we had a chance to look at some of the players, and here's this week's Cardinal Crusher. Coach, over here, we're talking about Matt Wanger. He could be gone for the season, but here's some of the guys that may be asked to help fill his shoes. This is Kane Thompson, the linebacker. That's a big hit right there. Drives this guy out of bounds.
Right. Kane's going to be a tremendous player for us.
We were talking about Champion. Look at him coming off the edge. He's very quick for a big guy. Gets the sack right there on the quarterback. And then finally right here, I think Josh McLeod, he's a DB for you, comes up with a big interception. You know what, seeing that number 17 on the field, I couldn't help but think of Nick Swanson. But certainly McLeod looks like he can make a name for himself as well.
Well, we think he can. He gets, almost every day he gets at least one interception in the 7-on-7. And so we're hoping that he'll get a lot of them during the season.
Absolutely. Well, up next, North Central College will host Benedictine University Saturday night at 7. Coach, Benedictine, this is a team that the Cardinals really were able to win last year pretty easily. Expecting the same thing this year, coming off they're coming off a 24-14 loss at home to Elmhurst. Certainly Elmhurst last year, as we saw, was a good team, the CCIW.
They sure were. Coach Lester's done a tremendous job with Elmhurst, but I think Coach Cooper is really doing a wonderful job with his guys this year, because they're greatly improved over the team that we saw last year. So we're working very hard trying to figure out what things we think we can do, and we're expecting it to be a very good college football game.
And Coach, you talk about the Eagles over there at Benedictine improving. It was certainly evident last Saturday. Their sophomore running back, Derek Hitt, he was a quarterback for him last year, but he had a nice game, 24 rushes, 130 yards, and a touchdown versus a pretty good Elmhurst defense.
You know, that he did look very good. He looked a lot like some of the running backs that we've had to face in the CCIW over the last few years. I mean, he made great reads. He could stick a foot in the ground and change direction very smoothly, and so we're looking forward to figuring out whether or not we can stop the run a little bit better than we did last week. And it looks like this team wants to run it a lot, so it's what we need. We need this kind of game.
Yeah. Well, we're certainly looking forward to the game this Saturday as well. Stay tuned, Redbird fans, as Cardinal defensive coordinator Bill Winke and offensive lineman Kyle Antos join us to talk all things Cardinal football. We'll be right back.